So, after a slew of launches dating back to August, I can now finally go back to talk about non-new launch related topics. And today, we'll be talking about why I think 2026 will be the year of the sub-sales and resale, because I will give you the reasons to support my case. And then you can decide if it makes sense. Okay? Fair enough. But before we do that, I feel that I still have to do my mandatory post-launch review for what has happened so far for Skye, Penrith, and Faber. Disclaimer, whatever I share does not constitute financial advice. It is solely based on my opinion on what is right or wrong. So please do your own due diligence. If you're liking the content so far, please hit the like and subscribe button, as your simple gesture will help a lot with the YouTube algorithm. If you are interested to find out more about property related matters, please find all the social media handles I am on, or you can just directly reach out to me on WhatsApp. Separately, I have also set up a Telegram group at the start of the year so that we can have a discussion that we as agents are not allowed to do so online, which is to talk shit. So if you are interested to get into a community that talks about everything under the sun about property, please scan the QR code, or for the boomers out there, I have pasted the link in my description. We're going to close the group invitation in probably a month or 2 times, so head over and I will see you there. Now back to the video. Now, firstly, Skye take-up rate of 99% was crazy to say the least. Now, it's not the almost sell that kind of surprises me. It was the way the $3 to $6 million properties got snapped up just like that got me scratching my head. Now, the entire 1464 square feet 4-bedroom premium unit got wiped out between 4 to as high as $4.8 million. Now, that's wiped clean. Okay, 100% sold out, meaning the higher floors with a super high price also gonna chaka liao. Even the 1238 square feet, the smaller 4-bedroom layout, which is like also got sold out. Okay lah, understandably because the quantum is much lower. Now for this particular unit type, there were many in my Telegram group questioning whether there is a euphoria or not, and whether there's some bit of FOMO in this. So you haven't joined a group chat or Telegram group, please head over to there. Well, I can't say that there isn't, but part of the reason why I feel that buyers jump at it is because under $4.5 million budget within 1 km of Holland Village, there's probably only like 2 to 3 or boutique developments that has got a 4-bedroom option in that price range. So naturally, if you can get the 1238 square feet 4-bedroom at let's say 3.5, 3.6 or even $3.7 million and below, then that's actually the market sweet spot to say the least. I mean, the per square foot isn't cheap, but if you're looking for cheaper per square foot, then you got to likely pay above $4.5 million for a 4-bedroom. Otherwise, got to really settle for a boutique development or something like that. Now, that's the reason why I don't exactly think it's FOMO. It's really opening up the segment that gives you not only a brand new property near the MRT, but also with a price tag that is closer to 3 bedrooms in the Holland Village area. But still, 4 bedrooms being all sold out, only a handful of 5 bedrooms left, close to 33 or 34 of them taken at a range of between like 5.1 all the way to $5.9 million. Now, this is one segment that I thought would have the most resistance given the price tag, but it has shown partly only one thing: how much liquid there is out there for a prime property like this. Like I mentioned, I know there's a group of buyers waiting for this plot for the longest time, but to be taken in this manner is an amazing feat for the developers. In reality, even for the 2 to 3 bedrooms, I was also expecting the super high floors to be still available, but again, I'm broke. What's more, I believe 20-30% of peeps got a really good deal, another 20-30% got a normal price, and I question the remaining 30 to 40% of you. Because what on earth are you guys thinking of paying between $3,100 all the way to $3,300 per square foot just because of a one-off transaction at OHV? Cannot be right. I mean, I think if you are buying for own use, still justifiable. But if you're thinking of that as a form of pure investment, come on guys, what's your walkaway price? What, 3,500 per square foot, man? Cannot be right. Or learn how to compose yourself. Walk away if the price is too high. Now, one more thing I want to bring up that is worthy to discuss is that I kind of noticed one trend more visible in the CCR market is that there's really quite a fair bit of younger consumers buying the larger 3-bedroom units or 4. Now, there are 3 different groups that I kind of noticed. I'm not too sure whether you noticed that also or not. Number 1, the real rich ones that comes from a more privileged background. So, okay, nothing to elaborate on that. Now, number 2, upgraders who are cashing out of their first asset, be it a HDB or private property. Now, in this kind of scenario, down payments are usually not the issue so long as their income's good enough. And in today's market, just in case you might be skeptical, almost all of the consultations that I had sees between a 15 to 20k combined income easily, which means that they can easily buy a property of between $2 to $2.5 million, take the 75% loan and cover the down payment that proceeds. Now, this form the bulk of the people I see for the CCL segment of properties so far. Then there's the third group, first timers with combined incomes still pretty strong but do not have any assets and rely pretty much on their savings for the down payment. And of course, the privileged ones that do not have any savings but kind of gets a divine intervention from the parents to help the 25%. Then they just take the installment since incomes are strong. This is actually the common 3 groups that I'm seeing or I saw at Skye and all the other CCR properties so far. Then this is the answer to some of you who might be asking who's buying all these properties like Skye. Now, moving on to Penrith, they also moved 97% of units at the average of 2,800 per square foot, and Faber residences selling 85% at around 2,150 per square foot averagely. Now, what slightly annoyed me a little bit, even though I have some clients who turn up for the loyalty purchase at Penrith, is that by the time it reached the public booking day on Saturday, already close to 60%, 58% to be exact, of units were taken up the day before by VIP, loyalty, bulk purchasers, and agent purchase. Pretty crazy, right? Which means that most of the units were already taken up by approximately queue number 200 and higher floors were left only by then. Mind you, 200 out of 1,800 plus checked is a pretty decent number by most standards, and yet you have nothing much to really buy. That sucks, man. But how's the price at Penrith? Well, it's definitely not cheap for the larger size units. Now, the average per square foot was around 2,800 per square foot, much higher than my estimate of 2,650, which I did for my video about a month back, because they chose to load the premium on the larger size units. Now, I know the smaller units average was way lower. In fact, that is also consistent with what happened at Skye and Faber. Now, their larger size units were priced higher than the smaller ones because I guess the developers have finally caught up with the fact that the demands are generally much stronger for the larger size units, and the premium can stretch easily from anywhere between 100 to 300 per square foot. So I think moving forward, we have to do a separate pricing analysis for larger units, especially the 4 and 5 bedrooms. Now, last time, smaller units and larger units usually stands at around the same per square foot or even lower for the larger size units. Then in actual resale market, the 3, 4 and 5 bedrooms will diverge from the smaller units. But unfortunately, this hole has been plugged up. Now, what's also worth noting for Penrith is that I think the 2-bedroom pricing is fine. 3 compacts are fair. I want to bring up the case in point for the larger 3 bedrooms, which is the 3-bedroom 936 square feet that went from 2.44 all the way up to $2.8 million. The 3 larger ones, 1066 square feet, was between 2.8 all the way to $3.2 million. Now, notice that the gap averages between 350k to about 380k floor to floor between the smaller units and the larger units. Of course, the upper limit of the 1060 square feet comes much closer to the surrounding 4-bedroom prices, given the 3 bedrooms are all hovering around 2.5 to 2.7 million dollars for the likes of Sterling, Commonwealth Tower, and basically everyone else. Then I think it's actually quite the no-brainer to focus on the stack number 2, 936 square feet, because the difference is just mainly in the living room and master. But that for 350k and 380k difference, well, I'm not saying it's not worth it, but I think a lot of people would think that the 936 square feet is actually good enough. And it was also the reason why it got sold out much faster than the rest. Then if I have a budget for 3-bedder and if my ballot number serves me well, whoever who got theirs at around $2.5 million or below for the 936 square feet, congratulations, you got a freaking good deal. Now, as for 4-bedroom units, I think once you travel above 2,800 per square foot, it's really more suitable for a combination of like own use and investment. Unfortunately, although the average per square foot for Penrith is 2,800 per square foot, for me and my clients, 2,800 per square foot, let's say 2,850, is just about the walkaway price for us. Hence, we legit had 3 of us walking away from it. Because why not? By the time it reached us, it was like 2,900 to 3,000 per square foot for the 4 bedrooms, $3.4 million and up. I cannot, in the right space of mind, advise you to go for it if it's purely for investment, because with the same price tag of $3.4 million or even lower, it allows you to potentially buy a 5-bedroom at Faber at approximately $3.2 million. Meaning the higher floors of the 1,066 square feet at Penrith 3-bedroom hitting $3.2 million. Hey, I think might as well buy a Faber 5-bedroom premium facing overlooking the river, right? I mean, this is for investment because I'm commenting from an investment point of view. 5 bedrooms in Faber, only 20 of such units out of 399 units. Most of them who buys one mainly gets it for own use. Now imagine you're an investor who buys for pure investment. Now at any one point of time, can we all agree that there's only maybe you or only a handful of others putting it up for sale or rent? And given yours is a river facing, only 10 such units, confirm easy to rent and sell lah, bro. Correct not? Now, rent to who exactly? Rent to expats who love this sort of setup. Now, this reminds me of what, the premium facing units at Kossaro are the low-rise one facing the bay, only 5 stories, but who cares, man? Those unblocked city facing right in front of the river, those demand is off the roof. Then who do you potentially sell to in the future? Clementi HDB Upgraders or people further down west anchored with yearly eyeballs on your unit from parents who wish to put their kids into Nanwala. And then the 5-bedroom also opens up a niche market for you, which is the landed downgraders. Now, this is the exact move I asked one of my clients who is a supporter of this Pocket View channel and is also our Telegram group member to drop the Penrith 3 to 4 bedrooms and go for the 5 bedders at Faber. Now, as of now, the 5 bedders still have quite a fair bit units left. Now, for those of you who have a budget of $3.2 to $3.3 million, thank me later, you can seriously consider this one for investment. One of the cheapest 5 bedrooms in Singapore currently with a pretty good exit strategy. Good layout, most mostly cheapest price means it's okay lor. Now back to Faber, I was expecting them to lose out quite a fair bit of share to Penrith and Skye, but I guess their attractive pricing allowed them to close close to 85%. And I'm pretty sure many of them also kind of hop over from Penrith after getting ridiculous numbers. So from an investment point of view, that's a right move given Penrith above 20th to 25th floor was already considered pretty darn expensive, and that certain Faber units are incredibly priced. For one, I think the smaller 1,119 square feet 4-bedroom compact is at a market sweet spot because it falls quite some bit below the $2.5 million threshold for 4-bedroom island-wide, and the price of 2.3XM is incredibly close to the 3 plus flex 1033 square feet unit, and it's about 4 to 500k apart from the larger 4 bedrooms in the 1,270 square feet unit type. So what does it mean? Essentially, it means you are buying a 4-bedroom at a 3-bedroom price law. So that to me is very safe, because the safer it is in today's crazy market like what we are in now is more important than being able to just buy something. Of course, the 5 bedrooms is going to look like a steal in time to come. So as I mentioned, thank me later, please check that out. Okay. All in all, Skye, Penrith and Faber kind of surpassed expectations. Now, was Penrith sales figures expected? Yes, for sure. I believe if you manage to get anything below 2,650 per square foot, or let's say even 2,700 per square foot, it's a solid buy. But if you start to travel to those 2,900 to 3,000 per square foot, then that's not cheap, my friend. Secondly, I expected Faber to sell between 50 to 70%, and then they chalk up close to 85%. The most unexpected one was definitely Skye at 99%. Okay, because 99% is just crazy in the location in the CCL. It makes the likes of Nava Grove and Pine Tree looks cheap. And guess what? The crazy sellout brings us back to our main topic of today on why I think 2026 will be the year of the resale and sub-sale market. 3 reasons, and trust me, these 3 reasons are correlated somewhat to one another. Okay, number 1, benchmark new launch prices and strong take-up rate. Precisely what I have just mentioned a few minutes back. All of the new launch in good areas are not only selling much higher, they are selling out. Now, when the inventory on primary sales runs out, guess where the buyers flock to? Resale properties law or subsale lah. Then given the land cost of the likes of like Bayshore, Chuan Grove, Holland Plain, Dorset, all likely selling from like 2,800 per square foot all the way upwards, you think the subsale ones closer to Dorset like Piccadilly Grand, for example, won't easily sell at like 2,400, 2,500 per square foot, man? It's always the case lah. Because resale will always play catch up to new launch prices. Now, the brand new condo will definitely set a target for the resale properties to aim for. Now, will the resale properties hit the same price? Absolutely not. 100% will not do that one. Okay, will they claw their way up slowly? Oh, confirm. Definitely, they will try to claw their way up. Okay, sellers of good resales will think that their properties are like undervalued. Are they? Maybe. Now, the key thing to analyze if their resale will have more room to move up or not lies not just within the per square foot that everyone is looking at. Instead, it's also on the entry level. The cost of the property must also be taken into consideration. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, let's take an example. The Queen's condo owners 1195 square feet will look at Penrith transacting 2,008 to 2,900 or even 3,000 per square foot and say, hey, you know what? I'm undervalued at 1,008 to 1,900 per square foot and I should fetch higher at between 2,003 and 2,400 per square foot. Guess what? Even at 2,200 per square foot, it's a price tag of like $2.65 million. Same as the likes of Sterling and the equivalent Penrith. So is it really that cheap at 2,200 per square foot? Yes, from a per square foot perspective law, but not from the absolute price tag. Because in reality, at the same price range of $2.65 million, 2,200 per square foot, you are still only getting a 3-bedroom at Queen's condo, although everything about it is just slightly larger or bigger lah. And of course, it's also close to 23 years old. Now, in other instances, if the price tag and per square foot is off by quite some bit, then yes, I think it's comfortably the case that the resale prices might shift up higher accordingly in time to come lah. So you think the crazy takeout rate and pricing won't affect everyone else? Yes, it will. It's just a domino effect that takes time for resale properties to adjust upwards. And how do we spot these good deals? I will give you a free lesson, okay? First, you take up your phone. Secondly, you open up your WhatsApp. Then you add my number 94523347 and then you ask me any question. No, why? Because this is my brand ambassador lah. I'm not here to provide free service or I don't provide free lunch anyway. Jokes aside. So back to it. Number 2, falling interest rates. Now, for many years, the push to buy a new launch has been evident due to sky-high interest rates of between like 3 to 4%. Now, in certain older resale properties, it's actually a negative hold given the rates itself is higher than the rents you are getting lah. That's why there's plenty of consumers who are not only buoyant on new launches and its proven track record, the payment schedule is the biggest plus point. Of course, buyers who needs a house will definitely still buy a resale, but for the rest of the investors, it was an easy push towards new launch. But that might change quite some bit now as rates are hitting a number as low as 1.5% fixed 2 years, just in case you never keep track. You know how cheap that is, no? My rates currently still stuck at 3.38%, man. Damn bloody sad. 3 months Aura currently stands at around 1.65%, which is like 1.39 plus 0.25% spread, which also means that I know that it's hard to earn the bank's money. Then putting a 1.5% fix means they expect rates to continue falling from here, at least for the next 6 to 12 months long. Now, let's see how this will affect the mindset of certain resale buyers. On one end, and in our previous point, new launch take-up rate is so strong and new launch prices are hitting new threshold, they will already fundamentally start to look at resale for better opportunities or gaps now. Then on the other hand, using an average rental yield of 3% for example, you are likely looking at a net of kind of a ballpark figure 1.2 to 1.5%, including maintenance fee, agent's fee, property tax, income tax. Okay, now if you buy a $2 million property, it also means that you are talking about a net return of between $24,000 all the way up to $30,000 a year now. Now, if you multiply that by the 4 years SSD, then you're looking easily at a net gains of around 100 to 120k. And for new launch, you might be clocking an expense of between 30 to 40k in progressive payment interest alone. Hence, the delta is about potential 160k without taking into account capital appreciation. Okay, means we haven't talked about making money yet. Okay, for some, that would mean a great big deal. Now, the only unknown is on the capital upside, because to be honest, whatever we buy, whether is it new launch or resale, how much you make or whatever it is, everyone is just guessing lah. No one can be too sure, including me. It's just all about probability. Okay. Recently, there's been plenty of debate in my Telegram group again over whether the new launch or resale will make more money or not. On surface level, some launches are really expensive, some are decently priced, but it doesn't mean the new launch will always make the most. Yes, I say it, okay? I repeat again, it doesn't mean new launch will always make the most. Similarly, it doesn't mean that resale will make much more just because it's cheaper relative to new launch. Now, one example I bring up always is brand new car, okay? It will always cost more than a second-hand car. You cannot just say that the second-hand car is a value buy just because it's cheaper than a brand new one. Well, bad news for you, it's always like that. The brand new one is always more expensive than the older one. But yeah, without accounting capital appreciation, again, the use might be fundamentally a better option on the resale market option at this point of time. Okay, of course, you have to handle tenants, incur some hidden expenses to yield the property up to a certain standard before you can rent it out. But you got my point, huh? Which brings me to point number 3, bumper crop of HDB hitting MOP. Now, remember 2025 didn't have that many HDB that MOP. Why? Because 2020 was COVID and COVID have massive delays to BTO obtaining TOP, 5 years MOP period. Most of them got delayed till 2021 to 2022, if you can recall, where life kind of resumed somewhat after that. But guess what it also means? It means that more HDB owners are coming out to the market to upgrade, and most of them tend to look for a resale property as new launch might be too much of a wait, meaning demand is expected to be even stronger in 2026 to 2027 from the upgraders segment. Granted, some will still rent a house and buy a new launch, but with what's going on in point number 1, which is the lack of launches, and 2, crazy pricings, they might just settle for a resale property. And what sort of sub-sales we might get in 2026 that will TOP soon to cater to this group of upgraders? Just an example, I might miss out some. Lentor Modern, Skye Eden, Piccadilly Grand, Tembusu Grand, Grand Dartmouth, Lentor Hills Residences, Hillock, Botany, AMO Residences. I think that's about it. If I missed any of these, I apologize first. Oh yeah, I almost forgot Pine Tree. Also gonna soon TOP, and there's something I can't wait. So 2026 new launch prices is going to be so much more expensive. Also, naturally, the combination of getting a resale or sub-sale that is brand new and yet cost slightly lower will see those serious buyers who want to live in their own house picking up all these sub-sale properties. Now you see, every point is kind of like correlated. Okay, and in summary, the above 3 reasons are why I think the resale and sub-sale market will move in 2026. Benefited in no thanks to escalating new launch pricing, and not only that, the strong take-up rates and sell out, because the 80%, 90%, 99% sales figure will force people who missed out to look elsewhere for better opportunities. And what's the other alternatives? Resale and sub-sale. And then if add the fact that we expect rates to continue declining, that's only gonna add more incentive for buyers to buy resale. So next time you rejoice that the projects are selling well at 80 to 90%, like, oh, there's so much liquid in the market, like market is so hot, it's gonna affect everyone in a good and bad manner. Now, good way if you are already invested. Bad if you are a buyer hoping for things to come off slightly. Now, higher land costs will also means higher selling price. That's common sense. Although you might not even be in the market, it affects you, it affects your neighbor, it affects your mother, your father, your sister, sorry to play family, even your mistress or girlfriend. Okay, that's the reality. And for those questioning how come there's so many people buying into property in Singapore even though prices are so high, my intelligent guess is that the stock market and crypto markets are still going very strong. And in truth, there's still plenty of investors who have made so much in the stock market in recent years that they are more willing to transfer their wealth from equities to tangible assets like real estate, which is still a proven hot favorite among Singaporeans. Now, HDB prices are also still not coming down, making private properties so much accessible for them. That's only a question question of if they want or they don't want to upgrade. Of course, it doesn't help that rates are coming down fast. So I think that the market is still going to hold steady for 2026. But the point I'm trying to make in this video is simple. I really believe that the resale and subsale market will start to see more people looking at it more than new launches for the reasons mentioned earlier. The market is showing no signs of weakness. In fact, it's showing signs of overheating. I don't like to use such terms, but for the many years of being in this industry, I haven't seen such crazy buying spree that happens one after another. Like there's endless liquidity in Singapore, like no need money one. And whether it's a bubble or it's a new norm, I can't care less, because buying the right property at the right price still matters, whether is it a new launch or is it a resale. Now, all the other talks are just noise, are just people trying to be too smart. I mean, I can be wrong too on market outlooks. So I choose the safer side now more than ever and watch out very carefully on my downside risk.